Hi, my name is Engineer Jonathan Wernice. I am talking about iPad Mini 2 with Retina tablet. Apple announced the iPad Mini 2 on stage, coming with thin like an A7 300 and 128GB. Information to satisfy those that rate a lot of HD action. On top of that, there is the motion-native Retina screen, an improvement in battery size to help power those pixels more effectively. However, there is the big issue of price, which Apple has had to balance carefully over recent years. No matter how much you like the look of the iPad Mini 2, you have to factor in that it will set you back nearly $320 or $399 for the lossless big 16GB model with the Wi-Fi connection only. Think a video.
Small tablet. If you hold it in your hands, it doesn't feel any different than last year's Mini. It's a little bit heavier, 0.73 pounds, and the display, again, the resolution is 2048 by 1536. That is a very high resolution, 326 pixels per inch, so it's a higher PPI than the iPad Air, and that bests just about everything else that's out there. Compared to get something like the more affordable tablet market, however, you can see there are a lot of tablets with super high resolution displays. Kindle has got high resolution Fire tablets now. You've got the Nexus 7, which has a 1080p display in a 7-inch tablet. Held side by side, this still has a higher pixel resolution, but you can see that there's a lot of stuff out there competing. What this has got under the hood, though, that A7 processor and an M7 processor for tracking, and it's also got better LTE and Wi-Fi in here for faster throughput and better range. And you can only, if you do opt up for the LTE version, know that this will work across the world and across carriers. You can SIM swap to your heart's content, so you don't have to pick one particular carrier to stick with, which is nice. So all of that adds up to a lot of things that the competition doesn't have. No, there's no Touch ID. What do you use this for? Well, definitely for better reading, for videos, for games. And the good news about the Mini is that for all the apps that we've thrown at it, that I've thrown at it, you can see that they all work really well in this size. They don't feel cramped. And so that's why having that bump up compared to last year is helpful. I mean, if you had the iPad Mini, that had an A5 processor. This goes up to the A7. So it's kind of like a 2-year leap in terms of performance upgrade compared to your year-over-year in iPads. Does that mean you should upgrade? Well, you know, some people may still prefer the iPad Mini because it's $100 less expensive, and the screen for a lot of people might look perfectly fine. If you pay for the LTE, you're paying an extra $130 more, so it starts at $529. Then you start bumping up to something like 128 gigabytes, which is the top-end configuration, and you're looking at something that's pushing $800. Now, I'm not generally one for taking pictures on my iPad, but the front-facing FaceTime HD camera in the new iPad Mini has better light sensitivity and makes you look generally snazzier. The only other thing that's different in the box is that there's now a 10-watt charger as opposed to the 5, so the brick is a little bit larger. And that's it. If you wanted to get Retina in an iPad Mini, this is the time. You do have to spend a little more money. The funny thing is, though, the iPad Air is pretty close in weight, 0.73 to 1 pound, and has the same specs and a larger screen, which some people may like for watching movies. Do you pay $100 more for that? Do you save $100 and get this? I'm Scott Stein, and that is a look at the new iPad Mini with Retina display, available once again in black, or space gray, we should call it, or white silver.
Okay, the Retina Mini is an impressive fast little tablet by any measure. In all of benchmark tests, the new iPad Mini performed a little bit slower than the Air, but close enough to put in nearly the same territory. It's miles beyond last year's iPad Mini, performing up to 4 to 5x faster for even more depending on the benchmark. And compared with the good Nexus 7 released early this year, it's a significant leap forward. As a result, APPS run nearly identical on the iPad Air and the new Mini, again because they're running almost exactly the same hardware. The difference is basically screen size and pixel density. Some apps like games can look even more finely detailed, while others might seem a tiny bit small compared with a larger iPad. But in general, almost all apps I've seen make the transition to the smaller screen size and center. Then a video.
I'm Will O'Neill, Editor-in-Chief of Tech Radar, and today I'm here to talk to you about the iPad mini with Retina display. First things first, it's important that we establish exactly what this thing is called. Technically, it's the iPad mini 2 with Retina display, but Apple, it seems, just wants people to call it the iPad mini. For the sake of this review, let's just call it the iPad mini. We were surprised when Apple announced the iPad mini, coming with things like the A7 chip under the hood and a 128GB iteration to satisfy folks who crave a lot of HD content. On top of that, there's the much needed Retina screen, as the name obviously might have told you, an improvement in battery size to help keep things running as well. However, there's the big issue of price. No matter how much you like the look of the iPad mini, you have to factor in that it will set you back nearly $400 for the lowest spec 16GB model with Wi-Fi connectivity only. Consider the rivals, and you'll see that Apple has a real fight on its hands. Google's 7-inch Nexus 7 is around $230 at the same spec, and Amazon's Kindle Fire HDX starts at the same level, although you'll have to put up with the ads to get it at that price. The iPad mini is an excellent device. There's no other way to look at it. We were really impressed with the original mini a year ago, but bemoaned the low-res screen and the underpowered chipset powering things along. So we fully expected this iPad mini to be another sidekick to a bigger brother. And with the iPad Air showing itself to be the best tablet on the market, we thought we'd be getting a smaller iPad with a Retina screen and an A6 chip. So the decision to make the tablet 64-bit enabled with the latest A7 CPU is a really great thing to see. The design, you might get a little annoyed at the colors not being as vibrant on the screen as some in the competition, but we can't really call that an issue. The storage issue should also be noted here, as it's linked to the price. While you can buy versions of the tablet that will have more than enough space for your content, the 16GB option isn't really enough. The iPad mini 2 is almost flawless in so many ways. The rich app catalog means it's a device that will grow with you, and the 64-bit A7 chip and Retina display are certainly future-proofing users from an outdated device. The design is still best in the tablet category, with perhaps only the LG G Pad 8.3 coming close. On top of that, iOS 7 is at least a step forward, and finally being able to see things in the clarity that they deserve is hugely important. Even gaming is sensational on this tablet, which is essentially all the first mini should have been, and a little more. For the full skinny on the iPad mini 2 with Retina display, be sure to read our comprehensive review.
Okay. Battery life. Here's some good and somewhat surprising news. 1. The iPad mini battery life look to be as good as the iPad Airs. Our first battery test run was a pumping 14 hours and 14 minutes of video playback, beating Apple's claim of 10 hours. The Air lasted 13.2 hours, while last year iPad mini ran for 12.1. I used the Retina mini while browsing, playing games, installing apps, and more, while using LTE as well, and found I could get through a whole day with battery to spare. A larger international battery, more professional display, and faster processor mean a bigger power brick. The included AC wall plug is now a 10-watt unit versus the iPhone size 5-watt mini plug. Charging of using the included charging tank about the same time as last year's mini with its charger, all things considered. No more, thank you.